Hey everyone, welcome to Catholic Table Talk, the fourth episode. I'm your host, William Sauber. Now, you might say, okay, cool. Well, I just wanted to say that I'm thankful for everyone who's liked Catholic Table Talk on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. First of all, apologize, do not have a mic, so you might have to turn up the volume. Hopefully get a mic soon. Not on Spotify yet, hopefully get on there soon. We're on YouTube and Facebook until if they take us off, hopefully not. But like and subscribe on Facebook and YouTube, search Catholic Table Talk, share with your friends and family, and then comment below any show topics you want me to discuss maybe that you have on YouTube, down on the comment bar, or just comment on Facebook. Fourth episode, Hitler's Pope. Yeah, Hitler's Pope. Like the Pope Pius XII during World War II. We're going to talk about him and Hitler. And did they connect during World War II? Were they allies during World War II? And you have Hitler and Pius XII. We'll talk about it. And the myth behind Hitler's Pope. So, of course, again, apologize, no mic, so try to be as loud as I can. But, no popery history, anti-Catholic stuff, heresies, Hitler's Pope, everything kind of started way back when Martin Luther was practicing Catholic faith anymore. And that's when no popery history was born. And now we get into the history of the Hitler's Pope myth. Also, this fun fact here, I'm going to do 2 episodes on Hitler's Pope, the history of it. Not just one. I just want this one to be kind of short, and then kind of go over the main reasons, what happened, blah blah blah. And then next week we got stuff for you to listen to say if someone asks you about Hitler's Pope, to kind of defend the Catholic faith's opinion about it, or what actually happened, I should say. So, Hitler's Pope, the history, the myth starting at the height of the Cold War, which was us and Russia, if you don't know your history. The Deputy, D-E-P-U-T-Y, was a stage play in 1963, and also went to a movie, in 2002. So you can look it up, the Deputy. I don't recommend watching it, but that's what it is. And they accused Pope Pius XII, who was Pope during World War II, that he was ignoring the Holocaust of the Nazis against the Jews, and he was very silent about it, and he was actually an ally of the Nazi Party. And there was also a book published in 1999 about Hitler's Pope. It is Hitler's Pope, The Secret History of Pius XII, by John Cornwell. Once again, do not read this book. It's just a myth, okay? The book is a myth before you even start to read it. Now, you might say, what do you mean by that? If you look up John Cornwell, Hitler's Pope, The Secret History of Pius XII, it has an image on the front page of Pius XII walking out of a building into a streetcar with, some people around, and also supposed to be Nazi soldiers. And a Nazi soldier saluting him. But first of all, look at the guy, if you're looking at this, Look at the guy who is saluting Pius XII. He's not a Nazi uniform. That's not a Nazi uniform, people. He's probably one of, like, if that was, like, he's probably the hotel clerk there or something. Because the Nazi party and the Nazi soldiers were way, I mean, they had pretty flashy uniforms, okay? Compared to us, in the U.S. U.S. just kind of some nice basic green uniforms. So in the Nazi party, they had kind of flashy uniforms. Also, on every soldier that's there, I count 2 soldiers, and they say 3, but like I said, the one who is saluting Pius XII is probably a hotel clerk or hotel helper. They got, But the 2 soldiers with the guns, they just kind of staying there. One of them is kind of looking at Pius, the other one isn't. He's looking at the hotel guy, and the other guy who's supposed to be a Nazi guy who's saluting him. He's looking at him. He's not even looking at Pius walking down the stairs. And they don't have a Nazi red flag on it. Now, the image I'm looking at, and I think they did this for every book, but the image I'm looking at is really crystal clear. A lot of people, a lot of Catholics, were arguing against this because the same reasons why what I said. The Nazi soldiers, they weren't really soldiers. I mean, they weren't really Nazis. The one guy who's saluting him is not a Nazi soldier. 2 guys, I don't see any flags on the sleeves. They're not really, and also they're not looking really at Pius. You would think if you were supposed to salute a guy, you would have to kind of look at him, or look in that general area, but they're not really. They actually made the photo kind of sweet, and they made it fuzzy, so you couldn't really tell anymore. So just keep an eye out for that. And then the 2 main claims, you say, okay, that's cool, but yeah, why are they accusing him though? I mean, you say a couple, but what are the 2 main reasons? The 2 main reasons, I'll tell you right now. The 2 main reasons was the Conduct Act, agreement between the Catholic Church and Germany in 1939, when Germany was kind of starting to overtake everything, and right before World War II, and Pope Pius' silence in terms of the treatment of the Jews, like I said. Now, the Vatican, it was not on friendly terms with the Nazi regime from the start. People don't believe that, but it wasn't. The more I learn about Hitler's Pope, the more I really like and thought it'd be cool to live in America or around Pope Pius XII, because I think he did a really good job during World War II. Now, just kind of gotta keep going quickly here, but history in Hitler's Pope, World War II, 1939 to 1945, the major players were, of course, Adolf Hitler, Germany, Mussolini, Italy, the Emperor of Japan. The Allies were Roosevelt, Churchill, Stalin, which we'll have to do an episode about Stalin, because you might think, oh yeah, he wasn't that great. And of course the Vatican, Pope Pius XI, and then the next Pope was Pope Pius XII. So first step was, the first thing, the earliest years between the World War, War and World War II was the Vatican became a country. On February 11th, 1929, the Lateran Treaty, the Kingdom of Italy and the Vatican. The Vatican is officially recognized as a sovereign country. Sovereign country. And the Vatican City has its own post office, courtesy, guards, kind of its own little army, and a bank, and etc. So it was kind of its own country. This was to make it more kind of neutral, you know. So, speaking out against countries, they couldn't be harmed, really, because you're just, you know, it was like a big country like America, and we were blasting the Germans, and they didn't like it, so they said, oh well, we're gonna wage war on you. Well, I mean, I guess they could have, but it became their own estate. And we're kind of running a little short on time today, but we'll get to the agreement. The Vatican and German Concordat, or an agreement, was signed on July 20th, 1933, so only a little over about 3 years after the Vatican became a state. A Concordat is simply a binding agreement that outlines the rights and duties of the protection of the Church in a country. The Vatican Concordat with Germany was not the first Concordat signed by Nazi Germany. France, Italy, and Great Britain signed Four Powers Pact a few days earlier. And the Church had agreements with many other countries besides Germany, such as Czechoslovakia, Austria, Italy, Poland, and like 4 others. The Church had been working towards an agreement with Germany before the Nazis took power. Under the Cardinal Eugenio Parcielli, which is soon to be Pope Pius XII. Next part, discussions over the German Concordat had broken down, and in October 1924, Cardinal Parcielli approached the German government and asked for a new draft. The agreement was given while the Weimar Republic was the court power. So remember, this is before the Nazi power came to be. Nazi Party. But after that, 9 years later, Hitler's negotiator, Franz von Papen, took this draft and offered it for signing in Rome. The Church knew that Hitler had no interest in following the agreement, yet it could not reject it since it would be backing out of the very same demands it insisted on the previous administration. The Concordat soon began to backfire against the Nazis. This is good. Now, that was the first part there. That was kind of what the agreement was about. Now this is kind of after. It starts to backfire on Germany. It became a platform for repeated Vatican protests, including protests against the treatment of Jews and converts from Judaism. Hitler wished to dismiss the agreement, arguing that it was outdated, and presumed the Church would have supported his agenda when it, in fact, did everything it could to oppose it. Isn't that strange? So back up. Remember, they signed this agreement and then it backfired. because Hitler didn't want, he didn't want any part of it though. That was kind of before. But the agreement summary, the coronet was signed by the Nazis, was originally developed before they took power. That is true. See, they signed by the Nazis, but it was developed before the Nazi Party took power. Okay, that's what mostly everyone forgets. They don't think of it. They don't know it. Well, they signed it in 1939. You know, it was terrible, awful, but it was developed before they signed it. And Hitler did not like it. He was trying to get out of it. It did not, and also here comes a couple more big facts. It did not indicate support for the Nazi Party. It did not indicate that they said yes, go and kill the Jews, and kill all these people and all this. It didn't indicate support for that. It did not show support by any of the popes or the church for the German cause in World War II. That's what I just said. It didn't support for the Nazi Party to gain power and wherever the Nazi Party met. It didn't support for the German cause in World War II, wherever basically those two are the same thing. Again, the summary. The agreement was Hitler's attempt to take advantage of the Vatican. That's how he could. He couldn't just say, he couldn't attack it without, like, going to war. He had to do it another way. And this was his way. He wanted to do it. He accepted long-standing demands, forced the Holy See to agree with him, and he ignored his compromise. However, this proved to be one but more serious miscalculation made by the Germans' evil leader, Hitler, that is. The agreement came back to haunt the Nazis, as Pope Pius and the Catholic Church used it to shield Jewish victims and resist Nazi advances. Wow. Tell that to someone who thinks Pope Pius was with Hitler. Within a decade, Hitler would express his intent to terminate the accord. And that summary was by the book that you all should get, Hitler, the War, and the Pope, by Ronald Wycheck. Like I say his name right, not too good with words. Names you might know. But that's one of the things why people think Hitler and Pope Pius were together, because they signed an agreement. But remember, first of all, it was before the Nazi Party really took over, and it was mostly developed before. It was all developed before the Nazi Party gained control of Germany. Second, Hitler didn't really like it. He was trying to go against it from the start and wage war and attack the Vatican. And three, he didn't really, the agreement didn't say anything about helping the Nazi Party gain power or helping their cause in World War II, which, that's, if you're a Roman Catholic, you know that's not a great cause. Well, the Nazi Party was evil. So, like I said, tell that to the people who think Hitler was was really like Pope Pius the 12th, because he didn't. He didn't like it from the start. So anyhow, I thought that was cool. And that's about as much time as I'm going to do today. So thank you. Like I said, next week we'll talk about Pope Pius. He's being silent. And hopefully we'll talk about the rest of it. So hopefully I wasn't really rumbling too much. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. And until next time, I'm Lee Saba. And come sit at a table and let's discuss it. Because it's Catholic Table Talk where everything is out on the table. God willing, we'll see you next week. Hitler's Pope Part 2. We'll try to finish up next week. If we have to, I guess we'll do Part 3, but trying to be about 20-25 minutes like a normal podcast should be. So we'll see you next week, everyone. Have a great week.